Known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Spreaker, and more. Good morning, folks. This is Dr. Marissa, and I love to balance out all the bad news out there with some good news. Why? Because the bad news is so readily available on your MS meaningless scrolling. And so I like to have topics and guests to that and special series. It is Thursday, and we have back in studio my regular host for Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
James Hawthorn. Good to be back from the...
And I'll let you tell me what's been going on using breakfast this morning. We try to encourage you to start your day with taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich, which means 8 things at the top of the bun, 8 things you're grateful for. And then at the bottom of the bun, because I like it on the bottom, is 8 things before you go to bed. We're going to model for you. I'm not going to be there with you. James might, but I won't. 8 things that you are specifically grateful for inside of yourself. What do you like about yourself? So James is going to weave in those gratitudes where he's been that he left us abandoned for 2 weeks. I'm just kidding. Because we had, I don't know if you know this, James, but you're very, very capable substitute co-host is in the cashew gallery right now. He's also known as I'm going to give him a new business name called Pressure by Orville Nation for you to do well. And he's in there. And yesterday I'm grateful that I finally succumbed to his pressure to form a subscription on my YouTube TV channel, which is up and running as of, 10:44 last night. And we already have 2 new members here. One is Orville Nation and one is Sci-Fi Mombi. And I want to just, you are my 2 newest pioneer subscribers to my channel. I want to give you a special email. Well, that Orville Nation was your very capable co-host for the 2 weeks that you were gone. Your turn.
Thank you, Orville. I appreciate you filling in, and congratulations on the subscription. I think that's going to be a really good thing. Another way to strengthen your ties with the community. So that's awesome.
You're grateful for, where'd you go?
Yes. So I just got back. I'm grateful for Mother Nature. I just got back from Belize down in the tropics, and every day I was out on the water, either fishing or scuba diving or snorkeling. And it's the second largest barrier reef in the world, 700 miles long. And it's only a mile offshore from Ambergris Key, where we were staying in San Pedro. And just to be out there swimming with sharks and spotted eagle rays and, sea turtles and just all kinds of tropical fish. I mean, it's just so beautiful. And it's nice to see that there are places that are still untouched, and it makes me want to double down on taking care of our planet Earth, because it's so much beauty out there. So I'm very grateful for that.
Oh, that's awesome. I am grateful that I got to scuba dive in the Great Barrier Reef, one of my top 8 experiences I've had in this lifetime. And so I know the feeling to be down there under the sea and just watching Mother Nature show off.
I
And
contend it's the closest to being an astronaut we'll ever be, unless we come up with a lot of money to blast ourselves off into space like Bill Shatner did, you know?
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Second, I would say I'm grateful for my friends that are watching my dog so I can go on these sorts of adventures. They just moved from the East Coast. They need a place to stay. And I said, hey, that's a win-win. I love looking for win-wins in life. And, you know, they're going to watch out for the dog and gives them some time to figure out where they want to live long term. So I'm grateful for win-wins and willing and generous friends.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm grateful that I got to scuba dive in New Zealand when I was on book tour in Australia. I took a little, I always combine business with pleasure. So I went to Poor Knights, which is one of Jacques Cousteau's top 10 diving places, and saw 2 slugs mating. And there's a special name for it. I've already forgot what it is. Numi, Mini, I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But that was quite the experience.
Yeah, or also known as slimy sex if they are a couple of slugs. So there's that too. I hope that nobody during the breakfast of gratitude is actually eating breakfast after I just said that. But hey, what are you gonna do?
Oh, that's hilarious. Looking for gratitudes in the cashew gallery now. 123 Queen, welcome. I don't know if I've seen you before, but I'm super happy that you're here to join us for today. This is Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
James Hawthorn, newly tanned and salty from
I was going to say the lighting is not, but I realized it was the tan.
Partially that. We're also kind of jerry-rigging it a bit.
Okay.
I guess my last gratitude is I'm grateful for my parents. I'm visiting my mom now before heading back to LA and here to celebrate her birthday. And we have a lot of great meals and times planned with friends and family. She's heading out to go run an errand. She's waving at me. So I'm grateful for my parents.
Tell her to wait just a second if she can hear this.
Happy Mom, wait just a second. She's going to tell you something.
Happy birthday, dear James' mom. Happy birthday to you.
Here she comes. She's going to say hi.
Hello. Hi. Did you hear the
song? On the camera.
Other
way.
Hey,
did you? Hi.
You're wonderful. James loves you. You're fabulous.
Oh. I just serenaded you with happy birthday. Did you hear it?
It's beautiful.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And he loves you, so
I do.
And I love him.
So gratitude.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you. Take care. So lovely.
Who's freezing here?
I freeze. You're back.
Okay. That was weird. I don't know who's freezing, but all righty. So let me make sure my my setting is off. Okay, so this should be okay. But Sam is in the background. Y'all remember Sam is my first co-host on Straight Talk. So I'm grateful that he's back running the boards for me while we find a permanent sound engineer for me. I don't know if I wear them out or, but anyways, there we go. We've got happy birthday, James.
Boy, thank you, Sci-Fi Mombi.
Oh, and Sci-Fi Mombi is grateful for her kids, her career, and PJ with his helpful advice. I second, third, fourth, and fifth that. All right, and let's go to the bottom of the bun, which is what we like about ourselves. And the reason why I have you do this, and James did not like this part at the beginning when he was first on with me, and that's not unusual. People don't. It's not comfortable, or it doesn't feel familiar to say what's good about yourself. Largely, for most of us who grew up, don't toot your own horn, be humble. But the problem with that is we're looking for love in all the wrong places with, who likes me, who respects me, who thinks I'm great, who likes me literally with social media now. So I want us to be responsible for our own mental health by self-care, self-love, self-soothing. That's why we do this. And James, now that you like doing it, what do you like about yourself?
Today, I came up with the 3 A's. I'll go through them one at a time, but I'll just give you the trailer: adaptability, adventure, and I'm going to leave you in anticipation for the third one.
Wow. Wow, you got creative while on break.
Yeah, I had a lot of flight delays at the airport, so I had plenty of time to think about the show today.
Love it. Love it. I will, let's see if I can match you with some B's. No, I can't say that one.
No, you're not.
I can be 12% of the time. I could be beachy for sure. For sure. I am bouncy and brave and beautiful.
Yes, I think those are 3 great things to love about yourself.
Owning that. So let's see. Do we have any appreciations in the Cashview Gallery? Not yet, but let's do one more each.
Sure. My third was authenticity. When I started, once I hit my 30s, I started to give all of my Fruit Loops away, if you know what I mean. I started to stop caring about stuff that didn't matter. I'm substituting Fruit Loop for a dirty word. And now that I'm pushing 40, I feel like I've really come to a good balance of not needing to or wanting to impress people. I want them to what other people think of me is none of my business. I want them to naturally like me or dislike me for who I am. In other words, Tom Petty has a song where it goes, "I went down swinging." And so if you're not truly being yourself, you're just standing at home plate, watching the pitches go by. Imagine if you're going to all this effort and work to be somebody else and people still don't like you. Well, talk about feeling like a failure. I would rather not be liked for who I really am and enjoy the relaxation that comes through authenticity. And then on the flip side, I'd rather be liked for who I really am as opposed to a facade. So I'm grateful that I've really, I think, stepped into my authenticity now more than ever.
Love it. Love it. And Orville Nation yesterday was touting your, that who you are and that you're really a great co-host with me, the level of self-awareness you're at, and that we complement each other very well. So this is why. And I love that. I appreciate that. And what made my day was your mom saying that you love me. I'm like,
I do.
It's so cute.
I sing your praises. I say what a cool experience this has been as we've been at it now for a few months. So
that's amazing. Thank you. Thank you to her. And I'm going to ditto that. My version of Fruit Loops is I don't give a flying fork through a rolling donut if you like me or not. And that, you're right. It does come with a lot of work on yourself and knowing who you are and knowing who you're not, and not having imposter syndrome, not being weighed down by that. I can remember just too many years of staying up till 3 a.m, writing notes or letters to people who I just wanted to convince them that I was whatever, and how horrible it felt if someone didn't like me or if someone didn't. And I'm not saying that I don't still, I found out somebody blocked me. I don't know when they blocked me, but it was probably a long time ago. And that doesn't feel good. And I want to go fix that. And I want to go, but it's like they say, you can't have everybody like you all of the time. And as much as the part of me that's the perfectionist, but what do you mean? Like I can have 100% of people. I can please 100%. It's like, no, you can't, nor do you want to.
Right.
88% of the time, it's good. And that is a great percentage. I'm grateful for it. My expectations for other people is 80%. So the fact that I have 88%, I really am grateful. And my work, our work, as we continue through life, is just to go where the love is. I'm really beginning to learn that.
Leaning into the love and leaning into the people. One of the great things about the things you like about your self-exercise on the bottom of the gratitude sandwich, right, is if you aren't able to identify and say the things that you like about yourself, it becomes very hard to lean into love, to lean into people that say these great things about you and take the compliment. And instead we choose the hard road of trying to fix people. I'm a fellow recovering fixer. Like, well, what do you mean? I can make it right. Just give me another chance. And no one's got time for that. But yeah, I'm a recovering fellow fixer, and it's important to lean into the love, because otherwise you're picking the hard road and going after people that just aren't that into you. And that's a really tough way to go.
Even though I do like hard, but not that way.
Right. You and me both, honey.
It is Thursday, and if you're wondering what I just said, no, what's going on
around here?
Hey, we're ramping into the weekend. It is Straight Talk, which that was Straight Talk here on KCAA AM 1050 FM 106.5, streaming everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, where you can listen. But you do want to come to my YouTube TV channel, especially since there's levels of subscription now to connect with me, because you can watch and listen. And James is pretty hot to look at. So we want you here on the YouTube TV channel. And thanks for having breakfast with us. We're going to go into the topic of the day. But before, I promise you that if you do this little exercise 28 consecutive days, you will sandwich your day in the most positive way. And it's not really expensive either. Alrighty. James, what is the topic of the day?
We are going to talk about income incompatibility. Say that 3 times fast.
Ooh, I like that. I'm going to put that on the banner. Income incompatibility.
See, it's hard to say it 3 times fast.
It is.
One time slow.
It is.
But I'll elaborate on that as you do that, and where this topic came from. So I'm sitting on a boat going 3 hours out to the Blue Hole. If you don't know what the Blue Hole is, Google it and you'll go, oh, wow. Speaking of Jacques Cousteau, he dove it. And I was talking to some of the younger guys on the trip that were upstairs on the boat as we were going through 14-foot seas to get out there. By far the roughest boat ride I've ever been on, but it was worth it. And we're talking. I said, well, where's your girlfriend? And he said, well, she didn't want to pay to go on the trip and doing her thing on shore. And I thought to myself, that's got to be kind of rough. It's got to be painful. And, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, do you pay for your partner if you have the money and want them with you? Or do you simply say, hey, if you don't want to spend the money and you don't want me paying for everything, that's fine. And you let them do their thing. I feel like there's so many potential relationship landmines with income incompatibility. It's tough. I thought, why don't we talk about maybe how to navigate some of those? Because I feel like it's something that if you haven't been in a relationship where the other person has way more or way less money in your life yet, you will. It's just the way it is. I even have friends where we can't agree on what we're going to do because they don't want to spend the money on something I'm dying to do, and I don't have the money to pay for them as well, but I'd sure like them to come, right? So even in friendships, I've seen that it can cause some difficulty. So I wanted to toss that out to you with having a little more life experience than me about your experience with income incompatibility, and I'll share the limited experience I've had, but I've had some.
Yeah. So what James is talking about, if you're new here, I live out loud on this show. And it's so funny when I have guests that's one of the first things when we go off the air and back into the green room, they'll be like, wow, this was completely different than what I thought. And I'm like, why? Like, I'm known for my conversational hosting. And they said, because you're so honest about yourself and, you know, not necessarily the norm of, you know, trying to look good or whatever. So, and I do that specifically because life, if you focus on the things that are horrible in your life, you're going to have a shirty life. E-life. And even if things aren't great, like what I'm going to explain to you right now, there's a, not a punishing lesson, but there's a learning in a chiseling kind of way. And I want to share that with you because that's what I believe life is about. Each one of us have experiences in life. The great ones are great, and the not so great ones are great too, because when I say to someone who's been through a very expensive divorce and it's the woman that's paying, I can safely say, I get that specific brand of dis-ease, that specific brand of, that specific brand of, oh, like, are you kidding me? Like, I can relate, and therefore I can, with validity and relevance, share my experience, strength, and hope in a way that you can heal too, or you can see this in a different way than you are. So that's why I do it. That's my caveat. So disparity, you want to talk about disparity. And I did this to myself. I picked a man who, very good looking, that's my defense. And he looked like Gregory Peck. The first time I saw him, Catalina Island, our eyes met. I was like, gone. And then, you know, find out he lives in what do they call it? Bachelor? What is it?
Bachelor pad?
Studio, right? He lived in a studio. And I just bought this brand new, incredible condo in Hermosa Beach, 4 levels, ocean view. The builder was so excited because there was one nonstop piece, $40,000 marble in the kitchen. He was all excited to show me, and I said, I'm sorry, but if it were up to me, there would be no kitchen. This would be another room to work in. So anyway, sidebar. So I was paying a mortgage of probably, I think it was $2,400. And so when we decided to move in together on the way to get married, he was paying like $700 a month. Okay. And he was working just above minimum wage as a driver, right? But I told everyone because I wanted to justify. So I told everyone he was working for Budweiser as sales and marketing. And but his real job was and I'm not putting this down. I'm just highlighting the disparity. And he didn't like to work, but you know, he was working, right? And he delivered for a bottling company soft drinks and beer, and Budweiser was one of the accounts. So I lied. He never lied about it. I lied. And so when he moved in, my expectation was, you know, 700 going to what, 1250. That's a hefty bump, right? He's not making any more money. So I, in a codependent way, you know, it was I'll pay for everything, but then I knew that was also not good for him, right? In terms of him contributing and that. So I went to Dr. Pat Allen, who used to be on my show on Valentine's Day. And she said the solution for it is to do percentages. So if you are making a lot more money than your spouse or your partner, to say, okay, based on what I make, I'm paying this percent into the mortgage.
Right.
Based on what you make, you pay this percent into the mortgage.
I think that's genius. That
yeah.
sounds very equitable and fair, and you're not
Yeah.
placing an undue burden on your partner. And I think there's a implicit acceptance when you date somebody who makes less than you, that you're okay with their career and life choices. If you're not, it would be foolhardy to expect them to change once you're in the relationship. And on the flip side, if you date somebody who makes a lot more than you have to have done the work on your own to navigate, make sure that you can handle that from a pride perspective. Maybe you have work to do there with feelings of shame, pride, living up to or not to your potential. I think about that all the time. I think about the career path I've chosen compared to a lot of my compatriots who graduated high school with me, and we went to a private school just for high school in a wealthy area here outside of Washington, D.C., and they're all making oodles more than I am. And I have to remind myself, I chose this life, and I can't beat myself up for the consequences of that choice. I made that choice. And if I don't like it, then I can choose differently, do a career change, or work harder, make more money, and give up some of the freedom that I enjoy. But I think that either way, my point is there has to be an implicit acceptance of where your partner's at, whether they're making less or more than you, going into the relationship to avoid some of these landmines. And I love your solution about the percentages, because that just seems very fair and equitable.
Thank you. And I'd love to take credit for that, but it's actually Dr. Pat Allen who came up with that.
Yes.
So, and thank you for all the people are giving us fingers. They're giving us the finger. I love it.
Great.
Not that finger, but this finger. So we know that you're listening. Okay. So let's put the moose on the table. You said that we're okay with that. And I think that one of the reasons why the marriage did break apart was I thought I was going to be okay with making significantly more than my husband. And what happened was, like, he was a stay-at-home dad, but people think, oh, you chose that. It's like, no, I didn't choose that. We didn't consciously choose that. It's because his, it cost more to hire someone to come in and be the caretaker than it was for him to be able to make that. And so, I had to it was all me. Like, I had not thought things through about what I how I judge or how I define success. Okay. And it's interesting now that I'm dating, that question came from a guy, how are you defining success? Which is a bonus point right there. I haven't met him yet, but that's, the fact that he asked that question is a good thing, because, I'm very clear in my dating that I've already done that route of, good looking and supporting, me being the sole breadwinner and doing all of that caretaking and giving. And I don't want to do that.
Right.
Right. I did that. And now I want to be in that position of receiving. And people will say, yeah, but you make money. How come you're expecting the guy to treat you to a very nice dinner, or, that you're the one? Because I haven't had that. I haven't had one relationship, not one relationship, that beyond the first date, they are, coming after me, wooing me. I don't even know what that word means.
And I don't
beyond
think
the first date.
I don't think you have to justify or explain that either. You have every right to want to experience that, because for you, it's literally a new experience. And at the end of the day, that goes into the whole chalk it up to compatibility or incompatibility, bucket. You're allowed to want what you want. And if, other people's current place in life isn't able to offer that to you, that's just incompatibility. It's nobody's fault. It's not a indication of your character. It's not like we're saying, oh, I want to be spoiled. It's no, I just want to I want to try something I've never had the privilege of trying. And so, I think it's also important when we find ourselves in a, disparate income partnership to leave room for chalking it up to incompatibility and not rushing towards ego-based, ego-driven assumptions, thoughts, and reactions. Reactions, I think, is the word that I would say we want to avoid. Let's be present and thoughtful as we navigate the rocky shoals of income incompatibility, and not immediately go to ego and really just look at it objectively. And I think when we do, we can just chalk it up to compatibility or not. For example, some people might be totally fine having the husband stay at home and take care of the kids. If that's what makes your unit, your familial unit work, great. And, if there aren't issues with pride or ego around that, great. You guys have found your compatibility, and, fork what everybody else thinks about, the way that you guys make your family work,
Yes, for sure. And if you've just tuned in and wondering what's going on in the studio today, this is Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa and our very special Thursday series. We have our co-host back. It is Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
James Hawthorn.
And you just got some money. Welcome back, James. Orville Nation is contributing $5, better than the guy she had on last week, which was him.
Orville, you're too kind.
Yeah, it's great. And the topic today is money, 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 money. Money. I looked for that song. I could not find it on Instagram or Facebook to put on the story. So
you should have YouTubed. You should have searched for the Apprentice theme, because that was the theme for the Apprentice when the orange one was on TV.
Yes. Well, I try to avoid everything orange, but Clockwork Orange. That's actually an appropriate movie for him too.
Yeah.
I digress. So we're talking about money disparity, and the moose on my table is, as much as, and I'm going to tick off my feminists I know again, but this whole idea of equal split, not men not opening doors because I can open it myself, and I don't want you to pay for me because I can pay for half, and when you try to pay for me, I get upset because you're inferring that I am less than you. I don't buy that. I totally don't buy that. I totally believe, and maybe it's a generational thing, even though I'm hashtag ageless, but let's talk about the traditional man makes the money, women stays at home. Whose money is it? Okay. And the transition or the changes with women being head of household or equal head of household, double income, woman makes more or less, but there is a disparity. And then finally, the input of, there was a study done, and I'm going to Google it, on basically the job of the woman if she does stay home. If you hired someone to do all of that work, what is that as a salary? And is that a way, or does it belittle the role of the stay at home? So I just unpacked a whole bunch of stuff there, but it's complicated, right? It's not so easy. And really, do you measure success by money?
No, I mean, I look at it as, as long as you can take care of yourself and, take care of your adult responsibilities, pay your bills, then beyond that, I think success is more about, I look at it like this. If you were to die tomorrow, what would people say at your funeral? And I try to live in a way where there would be a lot of laughter. There'd be a lot of kind words and tears of joy. And if I could create that effect in people's lives, that's what I think is, true success. And also along the way, a legend in my mind was Jimmy Buffett, because of just how brilliant he was as a not just a artist. He's an incredible writer, but he said when asked how he wanted to be remembered, he said, I want people to say he had a really good time and made a lot of people really happy. And I thought that was really beautiful. You know, enjoy life, make other people happy, treat people right, be a positive, you know, someone that makes you feel good when you think about them. And as long as you can pay the bills, you know, so be it. However, that might not be enough for your partner, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I guess, what we're talking about. I want to put a wrinkle in the plot.
Okay.
And say, when is it okay to let, you know, your partner completely spoil you and vice versa? For example, I'll give a specific. A dear friend of mine, we haven't been physically intimate in a really long time. We've friend zoned it a long time ago. But he had a big 40th birthday last year, wanted to go on this incredible trip. And no one else wanted to do all the crazy stuff he wanted to do. He said, my buddy James will. One of the things I like about myself, sense of adventure. And he knew I couldn't afford to do all this stuff. And he's just like, look, if I cover this, that, and that, I mean, a way disparate percentage of it, would you come with me? I said, well, God, I would love that. But are you sure? It's a lot of money. He says, yeah, I want to do this stuff with somebody. You're the guy to do it. You can't pay for it. You won't pay for it. You know, I know you know, but I will. And I said, well, if you're sure. And I had mixed feelings about it, but, you know, it was never brought up after that. And it was something that he was sure he wanted to do. And I really made sure that I was okay with it. And I think there are times when, if you're in a relationship, there's no reason the person who makes more money can't say, hey, I want to take you out to this restaurant. My friends have been raving about it. It's a fortune, but I want to do it. And I'm just going to do it. Will you come eat some really good food with me? I think that's kind of sweet. And I think that's okay. And I think if the other person's not okay with that, I think maybe they have some pride and ego issues. But part of navigating that incompatibility in income is, when is it okay to, how often is it okay? And under what circumstances is it okay to do that sort of thing? Like, let's say you're a younger person, you're in a partnership and they just can't get out from under their student loans, and you happen to get a raise at work. You say, hey, this is just icing on the cake. Let me put this raise towards the student loans. Like, we're doing okay. Can I help you out with that? Is that okay to offer that to your partner, or is that inviting trouble? What do you think?
It's one of those, you know, go in carefully, because there's just so many ways in which something like that can go wrong. Because even if, let's say, your friend, he sounds like a great guy, he can take me out. But I know, different team. But I think that if you can truly say that, because I know people close to me who will say that, but then once they do it, there is an expectation that you owe me, or aren't I great for paying for you? And that gets so tricky. And you know, the expectations of, let me pull up this stay-at-home thing. I was wrong. I thought it was less than 100,000. It's actually more. When they calculated how much was made for how much. Here's how much economists say stay-at-home moms should get paid, and it's 126,725.
Where? The city of San Francisco? That's a ton. I mean, maybe I really don't make that much, but that strikes me as a heck of a lot of money.
With all the things, if you calculate all the things that a stay-at-home mom does, right?
Yeah.
We're talking, you know, I don't know exactly the list of things. I'm sure we don't have time to go through them, but I, just like you, I was like, wow, that's way over 100,000. And again, this is one of, it never would have been a problem if we had been okay with staying barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen, because there was just not that, you know, calculation. But
that seems so caveman and crude these days, given how
I
far we've come in
know.
society, right? So I mean, obviously
I
that's
know.
not.
However, and I will beat on this, not beat myself or you, but I will beat on this because it does create dating right now. I still have the expectation that you are going to treat me to the first dinner. And I don't want to say, can I help with that? But I do, because I don't want them to think that I'm a gold digger. Which is kind of ridiculous to say, but it's a symbolic thing. But there's an issue, that expectation, the BS, the belief system that if you are a wage, if you earn money, if you make your own living, then it should be 50-50, right? There is that expectation. I'm fighting that for myself, because I feel like I went way over that 50% for my marriage. And so it's my turn to be, and taken care of is the wrong word, wooed. And how did I write it in that? I actually copied it, because I thought, my answer to this guy was, I came to my own, he asked me what success was. So I said, success is having enough money and energy to enjoy the finer things in life with balance, having what you want and wanting what you have. And then Emerson's definition, to laugh often and much, because to know that one life is breathed easier because you've lived. So that's my definition. Not a lot about money. But for me, as a strong, independent, accomplished woman, I want to celebrate the same in my man. And because I lost a lot in a divorce where I was the man, when the judge gave the millions, I lost the verdict, and he said to me, you wanted equal rights. That's why you lost all of it. Ergo, I'm looking for a man who doesn't need to take care of me. However, delights in being able to give to someone who has not been on the receiving end in relationships. And for a woman who doesn't think she's entitled, I don't, but does dream of a day she will be shown how desirable she is as a partner in experiencing the deliciousness of life.
So
I think that's very well said. If I do say so myself.
Now that brings up an interesting point when it comes to entering into marriage. And before we get to it, thank you, Orville. Before we get to it, I want to go back to this idea of, first of all, I want to maybe touch on prenup or no prenup based on what you just told me and how the decision went against you. But also this previous point you made about when you let somebody take care of you, how they might feel like you owe them something back. I want to piggyback on that and say yes, but there might also be a sense of like they feel like they can control you because they're paying, and that can be very toxic. Even something as simple as you're on this whole big experience and then you have a disagreement over dinner plans. They want to take you to this restaurant and pay for it. And you go, well, I'm not really that excited about that restaurant. And they go, well, what do you care? I'm paying for the whole thing. You go, whoa, well, where's my voice in it? Like if I'm your friend and you care about me, does my opinion matter? And if it comes off that it doesn't, then I don't give a shiitake who's paying for dinner. I want to be respected as an equal, and you can stuff your dollar bills back in your pocket if I'm not going to be, because then that creates an immediate incompatibility for me. If there's any sense of you owe me after they said that you don't, and if there's any sense of, well, I should have a bigger say because I'm opening my wallet wider. So that's, I think, when you said be careful, that's definitely a pitfall that I think is important to watch out for, and maybe draw that boundary. If you do let your partner do something really nice for you financially, you have to really, I think, draw that boundary and make sure that it's done in a healthy way.
Mm-hmm. Very well said. I really like the way you frame that. And as the person who's traditionally had more money, there is an expectation too from someone else. When I can I used to love treating all my relatives when I would travel, go back to Canada, big, old, elaborate, really expensive. And I was making a lot of money. And this was obviously before the divorce. I would love to do it. And there was, a little bit of, I was looking, well, you better appreciate it, right? Not a lot, but just a little. I'm human. If I'm going to spend $1,000 on a meal for, a dozen people, I would hope, and part of it was ego. I wanted them, oh, my great auntie is, so generous, and I just love, and the expectation that I would fly people places and things like that. And then when I didn't have money, the ones who had some, thank you for the finger, the ones that had the expectation, like it was, I literally had to say when nobody went for the check, right? And I didn't go for the check. I said, guys, I'm not in the same position that I was. And it was, I was kind of ticked because I had to say that. But there's that enabling when you do continue to be the provider and the sourcer and the one that's paying, and your ego gets involved, and then your, expectations of people to say thank you. My mom was one of those. She couldn't understand why people weren't grateful, like for her entire life for something she had done. And it's like, Mom, people don't want to have to, flip side, always say thank you for something that you did or something at some point. That's I don't want to deal with you if you have that. Here, look what I'm doing for you. And then now you have to. So, and that bomb or that landmine that you're talking about, when one does make a lot of money more, the expectation of having to ask for permission, right? You want to have a big ticket item and you don't have funds in your account because you are supporting them because you put them through school and all of that just having to ask, this is what I think we need. And the answer is no, we can't afford it. And there's money there. How do you navigate that landmine? Right.
Right.
So it's I'm kind of sad that Troy isn't on, because Troy and Netter, we always talk about them having a really, really good marriage. And I wonder how they navigate this stuff. So we'll have to, if they come in later on this week, I'll ask them. But anyways, there's no, my only solution to this is, if you are with someone that you can be. And it's scary because I don't even know if some of these things, if you're honest about it, you can't unring a bell. And if it's something that triggers somebody else by you being honest about it, I don't know. That's where I am.
Well, that would be incompatibility. And also, when you speak about this idea of enabling, I think people that are grateful and they give you an unsolicited, genuine thank you, that goes a long way, as opposed to somebody that just stops even attempting to reach for the check. That, I think, then it's in your court to say, well, okay, these people appreciate my kindness, whereas these people don't. No more handouts, no more gifts, no more because of course we want to feel appreciated. And that's different than simply, expecting that somebody's going to do something for you because you did something for them, or expecting that you have more control because you pay. As long as you don't go down that path, I think it's totally fine to hope for and want a genuine thank you. And the people that aren't worth the kindness, because I don't like assumptive behavior. And my biggest pet peeve when it comes to personality traits is a sense of entitlement. God, we're already down to like 5 minutes left. So
I
I might
know.
give a couple final words and then hand it back to you if that's all right. I think the two things that really stand out for me is try to avoid the pitfall if you're in an income incompatibility relationship dynamic. Try to avoid the pitfalls of pride and ego, and have a genuine, honest conversation within yourself, and also look at the other person objectively, and if they're behaving in a way where they're using their financial hand, if you will, to exude control or a sense of
You owe me, or
reciprocity, then I think it's important to identify boundaries. So not rushing to ego and pride, putting the right things in the incompatibility bucket, being honest with yourself with where you're at, and then also laying out boundaries if somebody is mistreating you, whether they are acting in an enabled or entitled way, if they're the one making less, or if they're the one acting in a controlling or manipulative way, if they're making more.
And we didn't even talk about gold digger yet. So
and
that's
the big P word, the big prenup. I mean,
oh, I thought I was going somewhere else with that. Yeah, I did. Obviously, I did not do a prenup. It was suggested to me, and I was first marriage, so I was like, "Oh no, it's gonna last forever. No, I don't want to piss them off. I don't want to irritate them by bringing that up." Da, 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 da. So, this is such a loaded topic. It for me personally too, and there's so much more. I didn't even break. My daughter makes an incredible amount of money. I'm very proud of her. And, it's, I'm kind of watching from the sidelines because, I love him. Her boyfriend is just amazing, but she picked the same way I did. Right. And so I'm like, but it's her life. And I do love him. So there's no formula. There's no one formula here. That's my final word. A lot of gray area, no right and wrong. It is what makes it 88% fun and only 12% stressful. I guess that's the formula that I would look for when you're picking someone. And I am grateful that I am aware of all of this stuff in me, so that as I'm, dipping different parts of my body in the dating pool now, is that I'm clear at the beginning about what I'm looking for. So there's no misunderstanding right from get-go. All right. We have less than 2 minutes left. I am going to invite you to tune in tomorrow. It is Tempting Conversations with Dr. Marissa and Alon Carter, the founder of The Temptations. And as far as I know, she's going to be here. She's been taking care of her mama, who is temporarily going through some health challenges. But tune in anyways, and we're going to be tempted to talk about something. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being back here, James. It is a total... it's so fun. It goes so fast every week when we talk about things. And thank you to my Cashy Gallery for being here, and all the money that came in. Money. And I do invite you to come to free subscribe. $2.99 will get you an extended play on Mondays where it's a Q&A. And then the $4.99 a month will get you a free Asian Oprah giveaway from my drmarissa.life shop or balance marketplace. This is Dr. Marissa and
James Hawthorn.
Wishing you
balance.
Peace in. Yes, peace. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. Now go and have the best day ever. We'll see you tomorrow.